Hey everybody, it's Ed and the future is now, and the future is dedicating this video to Elon Musk. So come on, you guys know we do all these boring videos about investments and stock charts. Well, what's not boring? Launching rockets. Ask the kids.
3, 2, 1.
There we go. There we go.
Now why don't you guess which one is my daughter? She could be the one with the helmet on. Ednita, huge fan of science. Elon Musk, Tesla, and just anything innovation. So Ednita's the girl behind the shuttle, and she could be one of the first people to step foot on Mars. If Elon steps it up a notch. Oh, guess what she wanted for her gifts? You're not going to believe this. This is a 7-year-old, mind you. She wanted Tesla stock. Crazy, right? So at first she wanted the Model Y, an actual car. And, she's 7, so that's not going to happen. That car will be completely outdated by then. But there is a chance that she could be one of the first maybe million people to step foot on Mars. I think she would definitely go. So, I might go. My wife might go. If we're not too old by then. So we attempted to do something that even SpaceX and Elon has not done. And that's not to land 2 boosters at once, but that was to launch 2 simultaneously. And we did actually launch them, and the videos came out terrible, so I'm not posting them on this. But you got to take my word for it on that one. So this is the team. This is, me and the recovery team. Okay, the recovery team was chasing rockets left and right. We went with 6 rockets, and we came back with, I think, 3 that were broken. We had fins that were torn off. We had one that was completely collapsed. We had a couple parachute failures. Actually, we had a ton of parachute failures. Now I know why they have such a hard time getting those parachutes to work right. So we also had a few ignition failures. So that was a pretty common one. The igniters are definitely a little tricky, and they come super loose. And that's my son right there who's trying. He was basically head of that engineering part. So this is part of the actual engineering team and repair team. So on the left is Guillermo. That's Anita's cousin. And second from the left is Tato, who is her uncle. And then Raymond with a hat on, and Rick on the right side. So I'm on the left there, and my wife, of course, is head of operations. And we're getting totally photobombed by my buddy Metz's son, Devin. And Metz actually is going to do a couple videos with me. He actually has worked for a lot of key companies, including Tesla. He worked for Tesla, he worked for Apple, he worked for Sony. So he has a lot of corporate experience. So I want to bring him on one of my shows one of these times. So the kids definitely had a great time, but I think the adults even learned a lot. See, my father used to shoot rockets with us when we were kids. So I learned a lot about it. And when my son turned 6 years old, I took him and shot rockets with him. And now that my daughter's 7, I thought it was a good idea as well. And she kind of was really inspired to do it.
3, 2, 1.
So I gotta thank Tia Tita, Anita's aunt, because she definitely helped with the slow-mo camera work. And the slow-mo camera work came out really good, as well as just the regular camera work too. So NASA apparently inspired Elon, and Elon has inspired us, and Tesla also has inspired us, and I'm pretty sure my entire family will own nothing but Teslas for the rest of our lives. So I highly recommend, if you have kids, go on Amazon. Look for some rockets. A lot of them are really easy to assemble, but you can get some detailed ones, and you can do a lot with it. And it's very inexpensive, and it's a fun thing to do. I mean, you could buy a whole kit. We bought multiple launch pads and kits, and then we've just bought the engines and everything for them. I mean, we might have spent like $100, and we launched 24 rocket launches. We literally launched every single engine that we had in the set, and it was a blast. The kids had super fun, like chasing them down and launching them. Of course, they all wanted to launch them. But when we started the day, what we did was, I mean, I had an entire checklist of all the actual personnel, and everybody signed in to what they wanted to do, and they were all a part of it, whether it's the camera crew or ignition or recovery or engineering or whatever. Everybody kind of got involved, and I think that made it kind of fun for them, because it wasn't like just me launching a bunch of rockets for them. It was them all like kind of learning about it and getting involved in a little bit about the science in it. And we designed a couple rockets from scratch and just put on all kinds of fin variations. And, one of the ones that we actually did launch, I mean, the highest one that we probably flew over 1,000 feet. And that was like well out of sight. We lost that up into the trees. That blew so far away. We had terrible wind conditions. It was blowing like crazy. So we lost like 3 up into the trees. So both of Anita's grandmothers were there. So that was great. So my mom was there, and she is 88 years old. And she was hanging out with us shooting rockets, and my dad was definitely there in spirit. I mean, without him, I wouldn't do half of the things that I do today. So I guess the last thing is, this kid is, a big inspiration. So I want to be an inspiration to her.